I thought
They make the game plan together.
We're supposed to be talking about basketball.
But Stefanski's involved in that, so you can't fire the guy that you're working with.
One of our teams won last night, guys. I just want you to know that.
You went to the game, didn't you?
I was at the game, and for a Wednesday night, the crowd was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a great atmosphere.
You're going to see that all year.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
The crowd was great Sunday. Here's what my takeaway is, and then I'll open it to you guys. They won, and Mitchell had a bad game. Now, I know that Orlando isn't any good.
and LeVert, neither one of them shot well.
No, LeVert, well, as a team, they shot, I think, 30% from three-point range. But Jetty was hot.
But you know who was balling? Jetty!
He was.
No, he was not hitting his threes, though.
It don't
No,
matter.
I think he was 4 of 7.
He was getting to the rack. He
Somebody
got an
was
and
4 of
one to
7.
finish the
Jetty
deal.
actually made a lot of two-pointers yesterday.
And again,
Yeah, he did.
in the
You're
right role, he can help them.
Yeah.
He's just not my favorite
There
guy
were
on the floor in the
multiple
fourth
MVP
quarter.
chants while he was at the foul line last night. I'm just going to report that live from behind the basket.
I don't care if there's no garbage can over
That's
there.
embarrassing. Be better.
Let's go, Jetty!
This is the new Matthew
Let's go.
Dellavedova
Let's
chant.
go.
No, I thought it was encouraging, though, that Mitchell, who carried them the first 3 games,
And
Had a
that's
bad
this
game.
team
they
is
had a
built-
bad game, and they beat
have-
a bad team, but they won.
They have so many ways they can beat you, whether it's a style of play or whether it's personnel. Mobley stepping up, Jarrett Allen stepping up. Kevin Love's going to have big games where he carries
Mobley
them
had
down
20,
the
I
stretch.
think, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mobley and Allen had great. By the way,
Yeah, he had 19, Allen.
how about this stat? So there were 19 players that played in this game last night. 19 players total between the two teams.
Right.
Okay. Jarrett Allen had 7 offensive rebounds in this game. The other 18 players combined had 15 offensive rebounds. So he had 1/3 of all the offensive rebounds in the entire game. And that
that's a nice
offensive
formula.
rebounds is all about energy and hustle,
Yeah.
and obviously his size helps. It feels like he's the heart and soul of this.
You know what I
entire
like
team.
more about that? You see, I always know what type of mindset you in. I like my big man to be dunking the ball. He's now ain't no hooks. He's getting the rock and he's throwing it down on people. He's showing that nastiness. Now I was worried about his hand a little bit because he had the hand situation, but I'll tell you what, nasty around the rim. I like to see Mobley was active. I saw him doing his thing. I don't know what they're gonna do with the 3 because I think, and I was
They
going to
got
ask
to get
you,
better there, yeah.
they're
need
rotating
a
a lot of
shooter.
guys in there. They just is that going to be a revolving
Until
door?
they find what they like. And I mean, right now you have to because Darius is out.
Yeah.
So that's the trickle-down effect. And once Darius is back, I think they're going to keep
Any
rolling
idea
guys
when
through
he
there
comes back, by the
soon.
way? Yeah.
He's already missed a little bit more than I thought that he would.
I thought so, too. I thought he might just miss 2.
Yeah.
Chicago
Yeah.
and the home opener, but now it's 3.
He'll probably be back this weekend. I
You
would
said
think.
Jarrett Allen is the heart and soul of this team?
I believe that.
You do.
The Cavs have analytics that show that he is their most valuable player. At least that was the case before the Donovan trade.
Well, yeah, before the trade, I would completely agree with that. After the trade, I
felt
would
like
say
he was
if
their
analytics
most-
show that, you can set that set of data on fire, too.
I mean, we have 4 games with him together.
No, I know, but we know what Donovan Mitchell
But
is.
before Mitchell got here, because I think when you talk about their big 3, Jarrett always seems to fall 3rd on that list, below Darius and Mobley. That was and I even put him there too.
Yeah.
But isn't he
And
the
the Cavs
glue guy?
always say
Isn't he one of those glue guys that just holds it all together?
Jarrett Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his blocks, maybe it's just me, but I think his blocks always seem to come at the most critical time, which tells me he could get a lot more if he wanted to spend that energy on it. But he gets blocks in critical places in the game that electrify the crowd. I think a big block, he had one Sunday night, I think that can be more in terms of setting a team on fire than a big dunk.
Yeah.
And he just comes up with them when we need them the most.
And he just throws his body all over the place. I mean, he just plays with I just worry about him getting hurt because he plays with such, it seems like reckless abandon. Probably not.
When they made that trade, I was like, all right, he's a good player. Like
I thought the same
He's
thing.
going to want to get paid. Like, we'll see if he's worth it or not. He is so much better than I thought he was.
I agree with
I don't
that.
know if it's fit.
Do you think the Cavs have been pleasantly surprised too?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they could have expected what they've got.
I think they knew, like they had their eye on him for a while. They wanted him for a while. They pursued him for a while. I think he's been even better. They stole him.
I know
Brooklyn
they did.
for a first.
I mean, that's unbelievable what they were able to get him for and what he's providing.
And I remember having conversations with people when they signed him to that extension. I was talking to people in the organization. I'm like, $20 million for a guy who's going to get schemed off the floor in the final. Like because ultimately, I mean, you're playing to try and win a championship, right?
Right.
So if you get to a playoff series, My thought was you could just scheme him off the floor.
The kind of player he is, it's easier to erase him in a 7-game series.
But I'll tell you what, I'm actually turning on that. I think you can play him against pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
And
is that because Mobley's there with him?
Mobley's there with him, and because he can just do more than I thought that he could. The more
Right.
that I watch him play, I'm like, man, I'm not sure that, like, if you play Golden State in another finals or whatever,
You
can play him. He can play
sure.
in that series.
And I didn't know. I thought.
I just got goosebumps, by the way, when you said that.
Golden State in another finals
Yeah, I
series.
mean, can you imagine? Can you
That
imagine
would
that?
be
For that
wild.
3 spot, I don't know if you saw this. I texted this to the group yesterday, but Bleacher Report had an article about like teams that might trade for guys at the deadline. And he said what you said, that the Cavs don't really have great assets at this point. He suggested Okoro, that some young team might be interested. He said Jetty Osman's expiring contract, if the Cavs are willing to move off him, could be worth something. And then he suggested that, he said they probably don't have enough to get Gary Trent Jr. or Harrison Barnes, but they could get Josh Richardson, Joe Harris, who played here, of course, or Cody Martin.
I would love Gary Trent Jr.
I would take Joe Harris back in a second. I don't think you get him for any of those names.
I don't either. Not with what because those contracts can be attractive, but not that attractive.
Right. And Okoro, he won't shoot. Like,
I know.
But
every
maybe,
time
yeah.
I watch him, he catches the corner and he's getting rid of it.
Catch and
He's
dish.
doing nothing out there.
I
at this
know.
point.
It's. I thought really that maybe they could get something because there's so much talent around him,
Right.
and the floor would open up for him, and there'd be opportunities for him. But so
Not
far,
yet.
it's early.
It is still early too. By the way, I think the fact that we're having a conversation about like these, who's the heart and soul.
Yeah.
Like when LeBron was here, that was always an easy discussion. But the fact that you've got really 4 guys that you can bring up, because I mean, Garland's in that conversation. Garland's a guy that can take control of a game. That's better than a nucleus, because a nucleus I think would be 2 to 3. You've got 4.
I think when you look, because he's in the Western Conference playing for the Jazz, you see a guy twice, right? You know, you're not really seeing him. You see him, and then the playoffs a little bit. You're not really watching him. But then when he gets on your squad, you kind of see him up close and personal, and you're like, man, he's better than I thought. Like, from the standpoint of, you always know you got a ball player when it just, like, it don't really matter. It don't never really be too big. Like, it's fourth quarter, and just like yesterday, we was watching the Orlando game, he was 2 of something. He had like 10 points. He hits a big shot, and he's just like, okay, let's go ahead and extend that joint.
By the way, I know that 10 seconds, that Orlando team looks like a bad team. They're on 5. They got some nice young players.
What you mean?
I think they're going to get better as the year goes on.
They feel a little like where the Cavs were maybe a year or so ago.
Yeah.
I like that Wendell Carter, their center, Bonchero, the rookie. He looks good.
Bonchero looked great.
They got some nice young players.
And they
played hard. They played their asses off.
Suggs and what's his name was out too.
By the way, we're going to turn to final takes, but I just thought that we had to mention that this is the first time in LeBron James' professional career since his rookie season that his team has started 0-4.
They're
also
The
rats.
Lakers
They
are
are
a
awful.
rolling
Why you telling him to
dumpster
sign
fire.
that contract, dog?
Dumpster fire.
I think
Why you telling
I
that?
said all offseason we're going to find out if he's still hunting rings.
He is no
He's
longer
not in
hunting
the road,
rings. He's
no.
taking checks.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because
he's earned it. Like you want to just live it out in L.A. and
Ride it out.
produce and make movies and do all that.
that's where he is now.
That's where he is.
Folks, you want to hear us crap on LeBron?